Hello, welcome to your magazine show, Big Conversations. Let's take that again. Hello, welcome to the November edition. Yay, November edition of your magazine show, Big Conversations with your girl T Ademo. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so nice to be back. And when I say November, we are a month to, well, weeks now to Christmas. We're counting down to Christmas. And for the first time, I'm actually looking forward to Christmas. First time in quite a long time. And my mindset and attitude has changed. I don't think Christmas is only for children. I think Christmas is for us all, and we're all looking forward to Christmas. So welcome to our November edition, and thank you so very much for tuning in. Um, what I'd like to ask at the start of this show is that you check out our website, ladiescorner.ca, to find out a bit more about who we are and what we do. And also to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is the name of the show tonight. Like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to give us just a little bit of your support. And I'm wearing Ladies Corner logo. You can see Ladies Corner. Can you see that on my jumper? Yeah, tonight, Ladies Corner. Thank you so very much again. So in today's show, we have a conversation with Mrs. Taiwo. She's Mrs. Moji Taiwo, a Calgary author. She joins us to talk about her book, Grandma and Munchkins. You may well have seen this before. I'm replaying it here on our magazine show tonight. From 7 o'clock, there's a conversation you need to watch. You need to really, really watch and listen to that. It's a conversation with Calgary poet Brewster Campbell. We hope you can join us then. At 7:30, Anna Primieri joins us to talk about the ups and downs of acting as a woman. And your girl Giselle, our everyday Edmontonian, she's on at 8 p.m. to do YEG updates. So it's a full night. I'm really looking forward. The nature of this game is subscribe. Check out our website, ladiescorner.ca. Welcome to the November edition of Big Conversations with T. Adeyemo. So without much ado, I'm going to start the show off by playing the conversation with Mrs. Moji Taiwo. We hope you enjoy listening.
I was spending time with my...
Hello, welcome to Big Conversations with T. Adeyemo. Tonight we have Alberta's #1 grandma, Mrs. Moji Taiwo. She's an author, a creator, and host, a wife, mother, grandmother, and an avid community organizer in Calgary. She's a retired civil servant, community leader, and an advocate for family, women, and children. A successful businesswoman, she's also a speaker, a coach, and a life skills facilitator who has received many professional and community awards. Mrs. Moji Taiwo, welcome to Big Conversations tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you, T, for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. It's so nice having you. So we're here to talk about your newest book, Grandma and Munchkins. And that name, Munchkins, reminds me of so many things. Why another book for children?
Well, I figured that I've always enjoyed being around kids, whether little kids or pre-teenagers or teenagers. And my 30-year career was actually working with teenagers. So after leaving that, and I wrote my memoir, that went on the wayside, and I started the Immigrant Experience show. But while I was doing all of that, I was spending time with my grandchildren. And I'm finding that I was posting my activities with the grandkids. I was posting it on my social media platform, and it was getting lots of responses and things like that. And somebody said, since you're posting all this, maybe you should document it somewhere. And I thought, oh, document it. Why don't I create a book series out of this? Because not only will it benefit our children, brown-skinned children, to see themselves in a storyline or in a book that has to do with everyday activities, everyday adventure. I thought, why not? So I will create that not only for my grandkids to be able to identify with, but all brown kids out there and non-brown kids who has never had opportunity to actually see a grandmother and grandchildren, a Black grandmother and grandchildren doing everyday things that they do.
Mm.
So that's one of the reasons. And the other reason is it also provides opportunity to young parents and new grandmothers what they can do with their grandkids. We have lots of new mothers that they probably don't have an idea of what to do and have fun with their children. We have lots of grandparents that are visiting from other countries, helping their children to raise grandchildren here. This provides them opportunity as to what to do with those grandkids when they're home alone with them.
So what do you do with your grandchildren when you're home alone with them, when you're babysitting?
Well, actually, I just finished a grandmotherly duty before I joined you on the radio.
Were you cooking?
I picked my grandson from school.
Okay.
Took him to piano and guitar lesson.
Oh, wow.
Came back home, cook while he was outside playing with the dog. When he finished playing with the dog, he came home, he had a bath, came down, eat, and relaxed for the evening. Waited for his mom to pick him up.
Are your children paying you for this service? Because this is, this is so convenient. I run up and down for my sister does the volleyball, the football. We all want the grandmothers to help us now.
Yeah, so those are the things that I do. And, we go to the park. This book one is us walking to the park, and just the process of walking to the park and what we see along the way, what we did there, how to make friends, how to talk to people, sort of promoting healthy living, being environmentally conscious, and being inclusive in making friends.
Okay, so your book is in series. And the question you start to allude to it. Tell us about the series first. What can we hope to find in each of the series? How many series are there?
There are 5 in a series so far, but I envision that it will grow beyond that.
Amen.
So the first book in the 5 series, it's Grandma and her munchkins at the playground.
Is that green? Because your books are color coded. This is the green one, the first one.
This is the green one.
Okay.
The next one will be the yellow. There will be the orange.
Right.
There will be the blue. And
I love the colors. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what age group are featured here?
Age 4 to 9.
All right.
Age 4 to 9. But somebody already picked up a copy and sent me a picture of a toddler really enamored with the picture in the book. I think
can we see a sneak preview? Just show me the page you showed me earlier of the beautiful woman we saw there with a head filled with black hair.
So that's Grandma and the Munchkins. There are senior Munchkin, junior Munchkin, and baby Munchkin.
Baby Munchkin. Even Grandma work to do. That's so beautiful.
And this is Grandma.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And the illustrator is Calgary based?
Yeah, the illustrator is Calgary based.
Oh, Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So what's going on in that page?
What's happening here is that they said let me read it. Grandma said walking is a good exercise for us because it makes us strong.
Yeah.
So the boys started thinking about grandma lifting weight.
It's like grandma. That's very descriptive.
So the book is kind of educational, but it also has a hint of humor here and there. Because that's what I do with my grandkids. I joke around with them, and they've kind of gotten my dry humor, although their parents didn't think I was funny. When the grandkids they understand my little humor here and there.
And what is so special, I think, about your relationship with your grandchildren and this project, these books you've written, is the intergenerational wisdom you're passing down. And I have no doubt that your grandkids will be settled, they will be calm, and they will be wise. They will be wise.
I hope so. I hope so. The one that I mentioned that the book is also in French. And that was not my idea. It's one of the grandkids that attends bilingual school. Is the one, when he read the manuscript and the illustration, he says, "So grandma, is it going to be in French? Because I go to French school."
Right.
And that's how we got grandma and her munchkins in French.
Look at the wisdom from the grandchild. Look at that.
From a 7-year-old.
Oh wow. When we were growing up, we had somewhat limited interaction with our grandparents because they lived in the village and we lived in the city. This was in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And each time they came around, they were very preoccupied with doing other things, like talking to the adults and playing around with the kids. Talk to me about this Canadian grandma idea where you're demystifying the traditional grammar outlook.
Well, I think I am creating what I long for or what I missed. For me and most of my life, I have taken the moments that are valuable and meaningful to me as I was growing up, and then merge it with things that I was missing. So I create those and just merge both of them together.
What would you say to people who are envying your grandchildren right now?
I would say don't sit around and be envious. What you do is you tell mommy and daddy, and if grandma is in the house, you show grandma the book.
Buy the book.
Buy the book and learn from this grandma.
By the way, at the start of this, you said brown kids, it's important for brown children to see themselves in a book. I want you to lay another layer on that for us. You've been around for a pretty long time, since the 60s. What are you seeing? What happened then compared to what's happening now?
That's such a wonderful question. See, my children were born here, and they're in their late 30s, early 40s now. So going to school here, not only were they usually the only Black kid in a grade level or the only Black kid in their classroom, everything about that surrounded them, they couldn't relate to. Nothing looks like them. Nobody looks like them. Nobody had the same kind of names they had, and on and on and on. And I saw that void. Even now, maybe there are a few more Black, books or books written by Black people, but usually Americans. So there is a void here. And I want to be able to, fill that void for the children, our children who are in the school system, who are going to the libraries. Even if they don't go to the libraries, at least the parents have an opportunity to purchase a book for them that not only is the name on the book different, the faces, they can relate to the faces, they can identify with the faces. And I also want to encourage those kids and the parents that, we can aspire to higher heights. We can live an everyday life, enjoy everyday activities while aspiring to higher heights.
That's true. That is true. You've said a lot there. It wasn't anything your children grew up with. You're providing sort of like an experience for children coming in now.
Yes.
What I'm thinking about Alberta generally, Alberta is a bit more diverse now than it was in the 70s or in the 80s or in the 90s, but it's still important. And then you differentiated. You said much of the Black writing we're still seeing or writing from Black authors are people from America. So I want you to say how different Grammar and Munchkins will be for children from Africa, African descent. Because I know we have a culture of respect. We have a culture of being polite. We have a culture of appreciation and gratitude. We have a culture of listening to our elder ones. I want you to speak because this is what differentiates us, because our culture is a kind one, is one that's always been. So I want you to speak to that, please.
Well, and that's, that kindness sometimes in our culture, because of the respect aspect, we don't allow, or we have not done a good job explaining to the kids that you can still respect me as an elder, but you can access me, you can come closer. Being respectful, me getting down on the floor and playing with my grandkids does not take away from that respect.
That's true.
It's teaching the kids that, yes, I am human. I'm not only, your grandma so that I can boss you around only. I'm also your grandma so that we can have meaningful relationship and be closer and share. You can share in my wisdom and I can learn. You will not believe how much I learned from my grandkids.
Oh, wow.
Especially when it comes to technology.
Of course.
And it's because of that accessibility.
Yeah.
That's why I could learn from them.
So,
yeah. And that's why they're also free to correct me when I'm wrong.
How do they correct you? Is that true pronunciation, grammar? No, it's not.
Oh, no, and not that. If I say, if I'm pressing something on the computer, they will say, grammar, that's not what you're supposed to press. You press escape, you press F something, F10 for this. These are 7-year-olds correcting me on how to use computer.
Oh, wow.
But I'm learning from them.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Just because we're grandma doesn't mean that we cannot learn from them.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the difference.
And that's a cycle of life, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the beauty of the circle of life.
Yes.
Let's just come around again. So what are you going to do to get Calgary schools, to get your books into Calgary schools? How are you networking? Because the more of our children who have access to your books, the better we are.
I have liaised with some of our teachers in schools. And they will, once I get the copies ready to give to them, they will hand it over to their principal. And some of them also, they mentioned that when they talk to their school board committees, they will introduce it at that level. And my one grandson that goes to the bilingual school, I've actually spoken to the principal, who has, generously said that when you have the 2 copies, please bring it. I will look at it and hand it over to our school librarian to follow
Oh, beautiful. That takes me to my next question. Calgary Library, they should stock your books. Are you working on that already?
I should, but because this is new, so it takes a lot of steps. But I have somebody working at the library there. That's my contact already.
Okay. Black History Month is coming. And in many of the schools that, especially the school my child goes to, there's absolutely nothing on Black history. So what I'm going to do from this, I'm going to link you up with our school, because I don't want another year to go by where there's absolutely nothing on. And I don't feel qualified to do Black history, but I think if you speak to them, show them your resources, if it's just a short talk, it will do us. So tell us where people can get this book, your books, and the timeline.
Okay. The book can be purchased through Amazon, amazon.ca, amazon.com, and it can also be purchased through Ingram Spark. And if people want to get copies in person, I will be at a location next Saturday. Well, I shouldn't say next Saturday. I should say Saturday, October 29th.
Okay.
From 1 to 3. People can come to that place to meet me in person. 2010 30th Avenue Northeast, Calgary. There will be refreshments and meet and greet and things like that.
Okay, I'll make sure that goes up on our website. And one other thing, we were talking about some of the challenges of even publishing this. What would you maybe have done better in this process? And could you just briefly talk to us about some of the challenges you encountered in bringing this beautiful creative work together?
Well, some of the challenges is from previous experiences, funding anything that's not typical, it's very hard. So this is self-funded, at least this book 1. Book 2 to 5 of the series, I have applied for some Bata Literary grants funding, and hopefully they will see the beauty in this children's picture book. The illustration, there's not too many children's book illustrator that can illustrate brown skinned Black people. That was one of the challenges that I encountered. And I searched high and low, but I was always referred to people far away, but I wanted a local person. Because some of the places the adventure took us to were landmark places in Calgary. And I wanted that captured really well in the book. So this book 1 is a teaser. So all the iconic other places that our adventure took us to, I wanted somebody who can relate to, an illustrator who can relate to it and who can capture it.
So is your illustrator a Black woman?
A brown person.
A brown person, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But from Calgary. And it took me many, many, many months. I actually got somebody from abroad, but I didn't realize that the person was from the Ukraine.
Okay.
But when the war broke in the Ukraine, we lost contact.
Oh, okay.
So that forced me to go back to my search for my local search.
Yeah.
And my last attempt at the local search, I found this wonderful artist. I met with her and showed her my pictures of my munchkin, of different things that we're doing. And she gave me a sketch, and that was it.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I think, Alberta, you mentioned the grants. They would really like that you're employing local talent as well. That at least, you're employing local labor. Before we let you go, I want you to reach out to the first book, Grandma and Munchkin, and maybe read us a snippet.
Okay.
Give us something to push us to Amazon.
Yes. And before I do that, this is the French for our French audience, our French viewers.
Même et petit too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Looks really good.
That's the French. So I'll read something from the English here.
Just a teaser.
Yes, just a teaser.
So we don't give it all away.
No. I'll read it to where it was funny that first time.
All right then. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Grandma took us to the park. We walked with Grandma to play at the playground. Grandma said walking is a good exercise for us because it makes us strong. And there is the picture of Grandma lifting weights because the kids are thinking. We hold hands when we walk to keep us safe. So there is safety part there. We must also hold hands with Grandma to keep her from getting lost.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was beautiful. What a beautiful top up there. Mrs. Moji Taiwo, I want to say thank you so very much for your time this evening. You're Calgary-based author, and right now you're a #1 grandma.
Yes,
and those of us who have children here, we want them to reunite with their grandparents, and that's, but we thank you for, your lively, the lively memories you're creating through the books, and I'm sure it will be a very beautiful read because it touches everyone who has children or who wants relationships.
Grandchildren, aunties, uncles, teachers, neighbors.
Okay, that was my interview with Mrs. Moji Taiwo. One of the things I loved about it was my very own laugh. Just joking. I did enjoy just listening to that again. Can we encourage you all to go on Amazon and buy Grandma and our Munchkins? We all have, our mothers are looking after our children, and the story of how she wrote the book is very, very heartwarming indeed. And to read all the beautiful things she gets to do with our own grandchildren is some of what we hope our own parents can do with our children. So please watch Grandma and Munchkins. Our magazine show carries on right after this very short break. But before you go, I want you to share. That's the name of the game. I'm just excited that you're here and you're watching. We're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we'll have the duo Tayo and Dotun doing quick tips for your personal taxes. Quick tips for your personal taxes. Don't go away. Just have to find the the song to play to break this. I'm not finding it. God help me. Yeah, got it. Don't go away. Hello and welcome to the November edition of your magazine show, Big Conversations with T. Adeyemo. Please check out our website, ladiescorner.ca, and subscribe tonight. You have a beautiful opportunity to support us by subscribing. Without much ado, let's talk about your money. Let's talk about your money. Let's talk about your money with the money experts, Tayo and Dotun. Tayo, can I just say welcome? Okay, you weren't clear before, but now it looks like you're very, very clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And you are the
Ah,
money experts.
thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, but
Great,
we're talking
great,
about
great.
your taxes, not money, but you're the money people, take it away. What do you have for us?
What do we have for you? We have quick tips for your personal taxes, and we have the tax guru here, the one and only
Tyler, nice way to put me on the spot.
Dotun.
Uh, Quick tips for personal taxes. So today we'll talk a bit about. Okay, why are we talking about personal taxes at this time? Tax season hasn't started yet. The beautiful thing about tax season is when you account for everything that you've done up till the 31st of December, or in certain circumstances up till the last day of the month of February. So really, it's not about what happens in those 2 months, March and April. It's what happens way before then. So this is basically a wake-up call to say, hey, if you're not thinking about it, this is the time to grab the opportunity and take action before it's all gone and before all the time is done. Ty, is that right?
I agree because one thing we know in North America, there are two certain things that will happen: death and taxes.
You're correct.
Yes.
Uh,
So sure as sure as what? Sure as the
as the
wind
sun rises.
as the sun rises, you will get taxed and you will pay taxes, and and that's it. So we're not gonna die, but we're gonna pay taxes. And we'll pay it next month. Sorry, next year for 2 months, 3 months we'll do taxes, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
so
So,
we're
so
here
our
to
goal
talk about
tonight is
quick tips.
basically to draw your attention to the relevant things that you need to keep in mind. We from our experience working on the tax clinic last year. Personally, for me, it was the first time doing income taxes for lots of low-income people, and I could see the clear difference. Doing taxes for somebody who earns $45,000 and less, comparing that with somebody who earns between $50,000 and $130,000, and that's also very different doing taxes for somebody who earns $200,000 and above. And that's my own experience as a tax preparer speaking
And
right there.
by the time you're $1 million, you need a lawyer, a tax attorney.
Well, definitely. Well, actually, I think you need your tax accountant and your lawyer working hard with you by the time you hit the 250K mark, because by that time the CRA has their hands firmly in your pocket. Your effective tax rate is closer to 40%, and who wants to give away 40 cents on every dollar they make? That sounds like a sorry story, right? So you really want to know how you're protecting yourself and ensuring that you're getting the best bang for your buck. So, Tyra, without taking too much time, when it comes to low income, based on our experience doing the tax clinic last year, what are the key pitfalls that we saw low income people make? Particularly the ones where people who earned less than $60,000 were having to pay back taxes to the government.
Simple. They did not plan. They did not plan for their taxes. There's this wild misconception out there that says that if you don't have money, don't plan your taxes, right? Don't plan at all. And I find one of the biggest things I found that was disconcerting when people didn't plan, and they didn't keep documentation.
Yep, yep,
But
yep.
so tax planning, it's not illegal to plan your taxes, right? Some, people, you work in 2 jobs, 3 jobs, even though you are being paid little amount in each job, you need to make sure that your employer is deducting taxes. What's box 22? Um, the tax box, the one that has
Yeah, yeah, yeah. On
box
your T4
22
slip,
on your
make sure
T4
that
slip.
number isn't zero.
Make sure make sure it's not zero, especially if you're working 2 or 3 jobs or 4 jobs, right? Even if your total income there is less than 10,000, because you say, well, if it's less than 10,000, I don't pay taxes. The problem is you don't pay taxes on one job, on one T4 slip, if it's less than 10,000. But if you're working 4 or 5 of those jobs, in aggregate, it becomes 50,000. And if you've not paid taxes in all of them, guess what
Ooh.
happens to you?
Yep.
You will pay taxes. You
Yep.
know, you're a single man, you have no children, you're by yourself,
Ooh.
you're fighting single, and you've worked 3 jobs. You've worked as a contractor, you have a T4A slip, and you have no number in the box 22. It's going to be a problem. You will pay taxes. So you should tell your employers to deduct taxes, talk to your HR, take taxes. Even if it's $50, or you know what, if they're not going to take it, save the money. So when you do have to pay
Exactly. Sock
back, you
money.
have it.
Sock
Save
money
some
can be
money.
used to pay taxes.
Some money, do something about it, plan for it, because once again, it will happen. Another thing that can help you is charitable contributions.
Taya, I don't want us to even go away from that scenario. I want to make sure that scenario is clear. So,
Okay.
guys, the scenario we are describing tonight is I work minimum wage, so my employer does not deduct taxes, but I have 2 or 3 of those jobs, and I work all of them consistently all year long. On each job, I'm making $15,000 to $20,000 or less, but I have 3 of them. So individually, if you work one of those jobs, yes, by the time we take your personal allowance and a few deductions here and there, you may not be liable for any taxes. However, when you work 3 of those jobs and you have a total of between $30,000 and $45,000 earned in the course of the year, yes, you are still at the lowest possible tax bracket. But guess what? It's 15% of whatever you have left after we've taken the personal allowance and any other deductions that you may have. So when you are in that situation, your employer hasn't taken any taxes, you suddenly find yourself having to cough up a decent chunk of money sometime in April, somewhere between $1,000, $1,500 and $2,500. That can be really very upsetting. So we're saying, if you are in that scenario, it's one or two things. This is November. You can still get your employer to take that money off 3 paychecks, right? And then you would pay the rest. But you will need to save that money, because I guarantee you're going to be owing taxes unless you are doing something really, really good, which means you are planning, which is what this entire conversation is about, right?
Planning for your taxes. So, thank you. That was very well said. And so the next thing you can do is charitable donations. The government of Canada is such a wonderful government. They want you to support your charitable causes. So they give you almost $1 to $1 match, I think, as a refund. No, not necessarily
as a reduction of your income.
Reduction on your income.
Most of the time, the maximum of 75% of your earned income. So if you earn $10 and you make donations of $8, the government will allow you to only take 7.5. If you earn $100 and you give out $80, the government will only allow you to take 75, right? To a maximum of $75. But what they will do is they will say, hey, you earned $100, you give away 75, so we are going to treat you like you earned only $25. And that's how it works. So whether you earn a lot of money, you earn a little money, any money you give to a charitable cause, that is an organization that is recognized as a registered charity by the Canada Revenue Agency. Mm-hmm. So you can't give money to your church, back home in Africa, in Nigeria, or, some boys and girls club somewhere in Europe. As long as if they are not registered in Canada, they are not a registered charity, you will not get the deduction. But if you give that money to any charitable organization that is recognized by the Canada Revenue Agency and is on the list posted on the CRA's website, then you will get that. You'll be allowed to take up to a maximum of 75% of your income off as a tax break, because you said you've given that money away. Now, if you make that donation and you don't have sufficient income to claim that donation, you can claim it. I'm not sure whether it's a year or 2 years or 3 years, but you can claim it in subsequent years as long as there's documentation that you made the donation.
So you carry forward. So the point is, make sure when you go to your churches, your mosques, or your organization and you give money, take the tax slip they give you, fill out the envelope, what we find is a lot of people then fill out the envelope and you have the comments like, I gave it to God. Yeah, but God doesn't spend dollars. You gave it to your church, church use it for God. Bring the bring the tax return, the tax receipt, use it for your tax return. Now when you get the money, go back and give it back to the church.
Go back and give it to your church again. So that way
or your
giving it
mosque
to
or
God
wherever
over and
you're
over
giving
again.
it to. So let's be practical about those things. Fill out the envelope, fill out the forms. This is not your home country where those things don't matter, right? The Lord looks upon the heart. Okay?
Exactly.
So fill it out, bring out the documentation, receive your tax receipt from your organization that you're giving it to, and bring it for your tax filing. So save it, take a picture of it, let them email it to you. If you've not done it for the past 2 or 3 years, go find it, go collect it. It will help you. Number 2, RRSP. That one was especially painful for me because a lot of people work in organizations where they offer RRSP, even unmatched RRSP, but they have the facility where they'll take the money out of your bank account and they'll save it for you. A lot of people didn't take advantage of that. Why? They didn't know what an RRSP is or was or is. It's a tax tool. It's a tool. The financial, how do I say it? The financial.
Okay, so let me take this off you. An RRSP is registered retirement savings plan. It's basically a plan put together by the government of Canada to encourage Canadians to save towards their retirement. Now, how do they encourage you? They say every time you put $1 into your long-term expense, your long-term living nest egg, we will take $1 off your income in the year that you earned it, based on when you made the contribution and based on the contribution room that you have. So everybody that works in employment, take note, I said employment. Everybody that works and gets employment income has RRSP contribution up to 18% of their total earned income for the year. Employment income now, not business income, not capital gains or losses, not property income. Employment income up to 18% to a maximum of I think it's indexed for inflation every year. So I'm not sure whether it's hit the $30,000 limit yet. But the last time I checked, it was somewhere between the $27,000, $28,000 cap. So if you earn $300,000 a year, your 18% is not 26,000. But all you can take is 26,000 or 20, whatever that number is, somewhere between 26 and $30,000 right now. So the government will allow you to reduce your income by that number. Now, because your employer has deducted taxes from your income at the full amount, a contribution to an RRSP based on your contribution room oftentimes results in a decent refund. Now, how do you get the cash to fund your RRSP contributions? Well, 1, you can save the money. Sock money. Sock money is good to saving for retirement. Nobody likes to hear that, but it's the truth. Number 2, you can borrow money from the bank. All the banks have products where they will lend you money to fund your RRSP at prime rates. So you have an RRSP, you borrow money from the bank, you fund the RRSP, you get your refund, you use the refund to pay back what you owe the bank, and that way you now have long-term money saved up for you. Which other way? Those are the 2 primary ways that I know that you can fund your RRSP. Taiwo.
I like the option of just saving little by little whenever you get an opportunity. And that's why I like the employer plans and even the ones through the bank. You set it up, they take $100, $50, $20 off your paycheck. You don't even see the money go straight to your RRSP account. It's there. And you do that every paycheck. Eventually it adds up to something. And then when you get the distant refund back, you can put it back again into the RRSP to grow, right? So those are wonderful, wonderful things that people did not take advantage of last year that was particularly heartbreaking for me, that I feel people should have looked into. So I think that's enough for the low income, modest income segment. If you want
There's
more,
there's one more thing. There's one more thing I want us to talk
but
about.
we can't tell them everything.
No.
They won't
This one is
contact
very
us.
important. Tayo. This one is very, very important. It's called the RRSP trap.
Pray tell.
So now, for everyone who has an employer who contributes to their RRSP as a matching, there's a need to be cognizant of that employer contribution, because what the contribution does is that it takes away your contribution run without giving you the tax benefits. So this is a scenario. Your employer says, I will give you a 50% matching on your RRSP. So you tell them, oh, take $50, take $100 off every paycheck for the year. And what that does is, over 26 paychecks, your employer has withdrawn $2,600 from your account, and they've matched that $2,600 50%. So you don't have a $2,600 contribution, you have a $3,900 contribution. But guess what? When it's time to file your taxes, you're not going to get the benefit for $3,900 that's been contributed. You will get the benefit for the cash that came out of your personal account. So in the event that you are the kind of person that waits till February and you want to top up your RRSP and max it out, you say to yourself, oh yeah, I've contributed $2,600, so therefore I can take the full maximum amount. No, you cannot. Your employer has used $1,300 of your contribution room, and as long as your what it will happen is, if you max out your contribution room, you would have over contributed to your RRSP, and that is a 1% penalty for every month that you over contribute. Now, basically what that is you are just going to pay money. The CRA is going to penalize you basically for over contributing to your RRSP. As long as our over contribution is more than $2,000, the CRA will be penalizing you every month that you maintain an over contribution. So to avoid that, keep your employer contribution in mind when you are making your RRSP contributions, if you're in a matching situation. And with that, I am ready to rest my case on low income and mid income taxes.
And I should just say, the term low income is not meant to be derogatory. It just means the bracket with which the government describes certain income rates or income levels. That's just what that is. What are we talking about next?
Well, income for the big boys. When
Income
you
for the
earn
big
$200,000, $150,000 and above, what do you do about your taxes? What should you be doing?
They should contact us. At tayo@dexteritas.ca. That is my because they can afford to pay the consultation fee at that point in time.
Of course they can.
Why is that? Because every situation is different, and it's difficult to speak to people. See, thank you, tayo@dexteritas.ca. Dotun at dexteritas.ca. Contact us, give us a call on all the social media handles. Dexteritas at Dexteritas. I can't remember which one is which, but
at Dexteritas, at Dexteritas Inc. At Dexteritas One on Twitter, at Dexteritas Inc. on Instagram, and at Dexteritas on Facebook.
Yes. What I would say though is, if you're earning the big bucks, keep your documentation. Keep it well. All the money you spent on the property you bought, every penny you spent. If you work from home, keep your documentation. Know how many percentage of your house you used for your home office.
Yes.
We can't give it all away right here, guys. You have to understand.
No, this is quick tips, but definitely if you work hard for that money, you want to pay your fair share of taxes and no more. And it makes sense to be informed and to be aware and to plan for it. So,
are there any new changes that happened this year that the government has?
Actually, this year has been fairly active on the personal tax side. One thing that I know has been out there is the luxury tax, the luxury car tax. So for high income earners, you buy a car, I think the limit is $100,000. When you buy a car that's that expensive, the government is going to make you pay a tax for it. And that's the reality that we are dealing with at the moment. So that's one of the changes that occurred this year. In addition to that, on the corporate tax side, when it comes to claiming capital cost allowances on motor vehicles, the limit you can claim on a passenger vehicle has increased from $30,000 to $34,000. In addition to that, the government they are putting the money where their mouth is as far as going green is concerned. So, for example, if you bought an electronic vehicle this year for business purposes, you'll be able to write off as much as $59,000. I say that again. You will be able to write off as much as $59,000 because you bought an electronic vehicle, an EV, rather than an internal combustion engine car. So those are some of the changes among a plethora of others, but there are definitely a rush of changes to personal taxes this year, and it just makes sense to be aware of them so that you can properly plan and put yourself in a position to make the most of those changes to your benefit.
I'm curious, as far as we're giving tips, does everybody know that if you're buying a home, you get your GST back if you buy under 450,000? Is it 450,000?
It's 450,000. I think it's 450,000. That's correct. So when you buy when you buy a principal residence for under $450,000 and it's a brand new house, right? Typically, the contractor is obligated to collect GST. But if you buy a house under $450,000, you can put yourself in a position where you are getting that GST back, which means it's either you're getting the cash back after you paid it off your mortgage, or your mortgage is going to be less by that amount. Either way, it's a good to know.
I think those are lovely tips we've given out tonight. Give us a call, email, text, to answer Facebook, to answer the rest of your questions. Yes, we can't all tell you all now. You have to call us for the... she has a question. We cannot hear you.
We can't hear you.
Sorry, I have a question. I was muted. I beg your pardon. I've listened to that very well put presentation about low income, and I get that it's the government that designates who is low income, who is high income, not the accountant, and that your doors are open to listen to the to the big players who can.
No, we're listening to everybody. It's fine. It's not that the big boys have to pay.
So I know I'm not a big boy, so I just quickly want to put in my question now. Must we pay taxes? How can I hide from paying taxes? Is it possible?
Let's talk about jail cells in Canada.
No. Let's not go. Let's start positive. It is your civic responsibility as an adult Canadian to pay taxes.
Do you like free healthcare?
Free healthcare.
Education?
The Americans don't get that. Education, the roads, the RCMP, the municipal government, the system of governance as set up in Canada is funded by personal taxes. So as a beneficiary of this system, it becomes imperative that we all pay our fair share of taxes. We have absolutely no support for anybody who is trying to avoid taxes. Our advice is prepare and plan for your taxes and ensure you pay no more than your fair share. Now, can you plan for it? Yes. Should you plan for it? That is our advice. Do most people plan for it? No. So what happens? The government takes as a deem fit. So at the end of the day, I'll say, let's not even talk about the consequences of not paying taxes. Let's just say that as good citizens of Canada, we choose to pay taxes and we choose to support the system that ensures that we can live the life that we currently do. I like to go to Banff and I love to see the lake at Lake Louise. It's beautiful, among other things. So I'll put in the taxes. Does that answer your question?
And I should also say, I'm a beneficiary of the great tax system of Canada here.
I mean, for all those who are asking, I do pay my taxes. I'm just wondering if there was a way, a method.
No, don't even know. There's no way.
Don't
There's
think that way. Just
no.
delete that train of thought.
Delete it. No, no, you pay your taxes. That's the way it is. That's I said the first thing I said in the beginning. You live and you die, and then you pay taxes. It's just the
You
way
pay
it
taxes.
is.
End of story.
That's
Kasha,
it.
great to see you. It's great to read that comment.
Okay, I have one more question. So, for people who are looking to find out how to pay their taxes, not how to run from, but rich people run from paying taxes. What I'm saying is legit. Even Donald Trump,
Be
they're
careful.
investigating him for not paying taxes, and the two is shaking his head.
Has he been found guilty?
No, he hasn't.
Well,
They're
then
still
we
working on
paid
it.
his taxes
Exactly. He
as far
has
as we know.
lawyers and accountants working to optimize his tax position.
Optimize.
That's the word you're looking for. Optimize.
Yeah.
I like that.
He's
His tax
he's an
position.
optimal. He's at
It's a
an
question of
optimal
what
tax
you pay.
position.
Got it. So it's a question of what you pay. Okay.
Exactly.
So
And
optimize.
you have a lot of choice until December 31. After December 31, your choices start to diminish very quickly. But you have a lot of room to make the corrections, put things in place, set up structures that ensure that you have that optimal position. But if you don't do anything and it's January 1, well, we are start to get limited by then.
And I don't think that our listeners necessarily have the Donald Trump kind of problem. You see,
They don't even have the Donald Trump mindset either. So hey.
All right, thank you, Dotun. I want to say thank you. That was enlightening for me personally, and I am sure people will call you at 587-287-4148. Do they need to pay for this phone call, or at least you guys will be able to say hello and how are you first?
Oh, we say hello and how are you first?
Before
We're
it
not
goes,
monsters.
before it goes into consultation mode. Maybe you guys are
Exactly.
professional accountants, CPA. Is very scary. The world of accountants, lawyers, doctors is all about the dollar, but it's fine. Thank you so very much for coming on to Big Conversations.
Yay!
So, thank you so much, Tayo. Thank you so much, Datu. See you
Good
next
to have.
time.
Thanks for having us. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for having us.
You're
Bye.
Bye bye. That was Tayo and Datu. Talking about your money, how to pay taxes. Look, that was just a naughty question, right? I pay my taxes. This is about we're in Canada, not even in Wakanda, they pay their taxes, right? So this is not some not paying your taxes kind of scheme. I know even Kersha and a CPA, she's listening. She's wondering what the heck is tea about. Yeah, we're all about paying our taxes. Yeah, I just wanted to play the devil's advocate. When we come back, we've got Anna Primieri. She's here to give us insights into the world of acting and more. Don't go away, Anna Primieri. When we get back. Hello, welcome back to the November edition of your magazine show, Big Conversations. I'm your host, T. Adiem, and this is the first time this evening I followed my own script. I'm the publisher of Ladies Corner magazine. Please check out our website, www.ladiescorner.ca. And by all means, we ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. At the end of this show, we're going to be giving all our new subscribers $500 each. So we ask that you quickly subscribe. And you know that is not true, right? But just quickly subscribe nonetheless. Without much ado, I'd like to introduce our next guest. She's Anna Primieri. She's an award-winning actress. She's a writer, filmmaker, and Italiana mama. She's Anna, our very own Anna. Welcome to the Conversations. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Yes, thanks. I think we've met before. It was online. We're still yet to meet in person, but this is
Yes.
wonderful. This is wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I love your magazine, and it's just wonderful to celebrate women and people, and I think it's fantastic. So thank you.
Absolutely. Now, for those who do not know you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am an actor. That's my passion, is acting. I conferred my degree at the University of Alberta. I've also studied in Alberta, Vancouver, Hollywood. I've done commercials, short films, TV shows, and film. And I'm now starting to dive into writing more and creating films that I want to, and stories that I want to tell. So that's a little bit about me. And I'm a mom and a wife and busy, but I think I find the time for all the things I love to do. So,
of course. So what are the sort of stories you're writing now? And take us into your world of Hollywood, your daily world. What is it like to create the stories you want to see? What sort of stories would you like to see?
Well, I think, really having the opportunity to sort of give women a voice and within different characters and complex stories. And my passion is drama and dramatic films. Although I did just shoot a Hallmark movie, which was really fun. It was light and really great to be on set and in an environment where you just want to make people happy. It's very different than the kind of stories I usually write. I just wrote a short story, Wait, it's called Wait, that is in the festival circuit. It's won some awards, and I'm looking at producing that one next. I'm also venturing into a first feature film, which is a daunting task at times, because so much of your time is spent planning the stories and the characters and the development, and really trying to create stories from the heart. That's my biggest thing, is I really think everyone has a story and everyone's story is important. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm finding the voice of different people I've met, experiences I've had, and how does that kind of transpire into the stories you want to share. So
I mean, it's really interesting, and I beg your pardon for this screen. I'm still working on why it looks so weird right now. Okay. I feel a bit more comfortable. What you have is a powerful tool. You mentioned your first feature film, and one of your films is in the Circuit Festival. You must feel incredibly proud. You're an Edmontonian, you're a mama, you're a wife, you're an award-winning actress. How do you go to bed with all this, weighing on you? Which pulls you more?
Well, I think, as a mom, anyone who's a mom knows that kids usually pull most of your attention. But I really believe that being that role model, that you can still pursue your dreams, and that you're still an individual and you still have passions and things that drive you. And I really feel that that's my driving force, right? And there are things that I can do when I'm by myself after everyone's asleep, and I can pick up my computer and I can write and I can tell these stories or prep auditions. We have a lot of things shooting here in Alberta, which is giving us more opportunity as actors too, to audition. And I just really believe in every opportunity to really put 100% of yourself into it. And that's just what I live by. And that's how I go about my day and go about everything I do and everything I create. And when I have the power of the writing part and the story I want to tell, then I kind of have that power to talk about the kind of women I want to share the stories of that woman, or through the character I'm writing about, and her struggles. And so that kind of gives you that creative outlet for me. Like I like that. I've always been a writer, and so really I think finding the confidence to trust myself that I can write a story that hopefully people want to see. So, yeah.
I mean, no pressure, because no pressure at all, because it's something to think about what you want to write. It's something to actually get it done. And the next thing is, do people want to see it? And we're coming to that. Now, how did you get into this world? Is that something you've always wanted to be since you were 6 or 7 years old? I want to be an actress.
No, it's kind of funny, and people who meet me later, and I'm very talkative and outgoing, and so people find it hard to believe that I used to actually be quite shy and quiet. And I was a dancer. I trained as a classical ballet dancer, and I've always loved performing. I did always love performing. I love being on stage, and I always felt it doesn't matter if I'm the best dancer. I just do it again with all my heart. I really feel that was always my driving force. And I was musical. I played the piano, and then it wasn't until university I happened to take a improv class. Actually, my sister suggested, she's like, I think you'd be really, really good at that. Why don't you give it a shot? And I dedicated so much of my time with dance and performing that way that I took this class, and I had a phenomenal professor who was an actor as well and a professor. And we had done a scene one day, I'll never forget, Michael Murdoch, and he pulled me aside and just, really made me emotional with some of the feedback I got. And he said, I really think this is something you should pursue. And I said, well, I do love being on stage. I do love being able to dive into the lives of different people and to create different characters. And from there, that's where my passion started. And then I did theater, and then I really realized I love the television film medium and some of the forgiveness it has. So.
Talk to us about your first gig. Who gave you your first opportunity? Was it easy? Did you start out in Edmonton, or you had to go to LA or Toronto, or how did it happen for you? I'm asking all this because obviously I don't know, and I know we didn't agree on this line of questioning, but I'm just very curious.
No, absolutely. And I think it's a great question, because I think that we're getting more opportunities here in Alberta to do things, because I was out in Vancouver for a period of time before I decided to start a family. I was often there and back, and I would go there and back again. I have a very supportive family, which is great. But what people don't realize is the amount of auditions and rejections, and it's really hard in the beginning not to take it personally. And then when you realize it's not always about you or your performance, that sometimes, it's the story they're trying to create and their vision, and all the different things that sometimes play into that. So I was very lucky. I got to do it was a very nice little short film. It was called Emptiness. And it was about it was a short film, the courier who kind of delivered everybody's messages. And in the end, she realized she was really empty. And all the messages she was giving, people, some of them took the message and decided to make it a positive. And then some people took the message and were heartbroken. So it was a nice little story. And it kind of introduced me to short films. Because short films are very hard to do. It's very hard to tell like a complete story in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So, because I have 2 short films right now in the film circuit, and one of them is 3 minutes and the other one is 13 minutes. So how do you tell a complete story that people can kind of follow in that short period of time? So so that's how I got my starts, is in this short film, and this producer and director who took a chance on me and liked me. And that's what it's about. It's someone giving you that opportunity as well. Is someone saying, I trust you to portray this character, and I trust you to play her and bring her to life and give her a part of yourself and everything. So it's also a lot of opportunities, and a lot of rejection. A lot of rejection.
Yeah, that sounds so familiar to me. It feels like second nature, the rejection. I'm just wondering, you got an opportunity. How rare is that in Hollywood? Sorry, in your world? And amidst those rejections, how do the average actor make their ends meet? How do you stay true to acting? You know, if people don't take that rare chance with you.
Well, and I think a lot of actors are, you know, we call it waiting for that big break, right? Where you can finally quit all your other jobs and all the other things you do to, you know, feed your families or feed yourself. And, you know, it's landing that, you know, a role on a TV show that, you know, you're going to have a secure paycheck, or, you know, you start making films with a lot of audience and people recognizing you, and then starting to give you more opportunities, because the more you know, the more you have on your resume, of course, the more opportunities you will have. That doesn't mean always, but I think it's that perseverance of, if you really love doing it, then you do it because of that reason, because you love doing it. And I've had numerous, you know, acting coaches that say every time you have an audition, that's your opportunity to perform. You pretend you're on set, you pretend that this is your character, you are her, you are doing it, and then you've done your part. And then, if, you know, when you book it, then it's great, I get to do that again, and I get to live out my passion and actually be paid for it. But a lot of people, you know, find different ways, of course, to have to supplement, because their acting paycheck isn't enough. Yeah.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Has it been easy to find work either during COVID or post-COVID?
No, I mean, COVID really put a stop to a lot of things, obviously, for me, for everybody on the planet. You know, everything sort of stopped. What was great is, so I'm part of the actor union, is that they really tried to support artists that were in isolation, or how could they create things with a smaller cast or crew. Actually, that's where I shot one of my short films, was during isolation. It's called Let Forever Be, and while it deals with other issues, for me, the character was a lot about internal isolation. So for me, I tried to find, how can I take what's happening in the world and created it within a different storyline. Also, I mean, that I was rewatching Sons of Anarchy, and that spurred on the passion to write. Kurt Sutter, I really, really admire him as a writer, director, creator. And you know what we were talking about before, like, are people going to watch it? And one thing I love that he had said, it was during COVID, I started following him on Twitter, and he would say, like, just write because you want to write, you know, just write the stories you want to tell, and don't worry about everything else right now. You know, it has to motivate you, because if it doesn't motivate you, if it's not something you're really passionate about, then I think that's going to come through. And that's in everything, in acting, and in any job you do. That I personally believe that if you're not truly passionate about what you're doing, then it's never going to be at 100%. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And I think, like, now post-COVID, we have a lot more shows coming to Alberta, like big budgets, smaller budgets, really trying to create opportunities for Alberta actors as well, and Alberta crew. We have a lot of talented actors and crew members here. So it's really nice to see them, like, more opportunities to shoot things here. My last film, A Vintage Bride, the Hallmark movie, was shot entirely in Edmonton and surrounding area. So, I mean, that's really fantastic that we can actually do that, and hiring as much local talent, which is really, really important, because so often it's like, you know, they go to Vancouver, they go to Toronto, and we get to miss those opportunities to film in our own city.
That's interesting. It's nice to get an insight into the acting world, the acting scene. Of course, you know, one may have read here and there about actors and actresses who do who waiter, who do jobs, you know.
Yeah.
And some people who eventually just give up because that big break, as you were, never comes, or just finally meeting someone who's living this experience, who's actually been in feature films, who's producing their own films, who is on the festival circuit. I feel like I'm living in my own dream right now. So, so this is extraordinarily special for me. Now, you wrote for Ladies Corner magazine an article which we're publishing. It should be out December 15th. The stories of three women in the industry, in the acting industry. Now, why was it important to tell these stories?
Well, I think going back to that, like, I really believe it's sort of an idea circulating lately that everybody has a story and everybody wants to be heard and acknowledged for their experiences. And these three women, so Barb Briggs, I worked on my short film, The Choice, with her. She was our director and was just a wonderful, talented woman, very giving as a director, very supportive as a director. And I instantly loved her, and I've gotten to know her quite well. And so I really wanted to tell part of her story. So some of her struggles. And I think too, because a lot of people, just see the glitz and glamour, right? And they don't see all the hard work and years of, like I've read before, overnight success. And what they don't realize is that actor or actress has probably been pursuing their career for 10 or 15 years before they get that opportunity. So really having that, giving those a few women that opportunity to tell their story. I was at the short film Edmonton International Festival, and one of the short films I saw, Colorblind, I really enjoyed it. I really thought it was very well done, and I wanted to talk to and I'm going to say her name wrong. I have it in here because Newsin, I think they say her name. Newsin Knight. I really like her. I'd love to get to know her more and work with her one day. She was so lovely. I got to talk with her after we screened her short film, and wanted to talk to her as well because not only being a woman and also being like a person of color, and how she's had struggles. And she made a point where it resonated very much with me, is the struggles of, we're not Vancouver, we're not Toronto, which are the main hubs for actors. And she's not an actor, she's a director, writer. So, even for her, that perspective, how challenging it's been for her, and how she's really similar, I guess, as well, like really looking at creating her own work. Because if you just wait for work to happen, that's not always going to happen, right? You're not always going to get that opportunity. So I really admire her ability to create and write her own work and direct. I am not a director, maybe one day, but I did try directing once, and it was very, very challenging. I like acting, I like writing, starting to produce, but she was very lovely. And Chantal Perron, she's a very well-known actress here in Alberta. Very talented, love her. She's amazing, really good. She's my acting coach, so I enjoy working with her. She'll push you when you need to be pushed and compliment you when it's due as well. So I just really wanted to tell their story and show that there's, the ups and the downs, and how they're very remarkable at continuing to pursue, like we said before, pursuing the dream of creating, being a director, being a writer, being a producer. And even when the times are challenging, that they're finding their way to express themselves. Because all creative people want to do is create, is tell the stories, is like, for me as an actor, I love when I get a script and it's like, okay, who is this person? And I do all the research about her and really give her like a deep character background for myself. I think that helps your performance, but I also think it's doing the homework and being prepared, and it's part of what we do as creative people. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Anna. Thank you for your time. I've got a couple more questions just drawn from my own curiosity. In today's industry, in the growing film industry in Edmonton, where we are, whose voices are we missing?
I still believe that, and I can only speak from myself or people I've met with or talked with, but I still feel women in general are underrepresented. are still not given the same opportunities. And it was interesting when I interviewed Chantel and her having that same experience, that sometimes to the male counterpart, we're not given the same time and the same opportunities. So I really feel, for me, I think women in general, and that's why I think what I write has a very female voice to share certain stories. You know, people, I love talking to people, and people love to open up and share and tell me experiences they've had, and then I incorporate that in my writing and in my characters, in creating a voice for that character. And I really, like I said, I think that women in general, we need to be writing more female oriented scripts and giving them more opportunities.
Thank you. An idea just popped into my head just whilst you were talking. I think it's something we need. I should share with you. I'm just wondering, even within our own communities, Black communities, as our children are growing up, how many of our children will be interested in drama, maybe interested in theater, maybe interested in this and that, but as parents, we don't even know which door we need to walk towards to begin to open. Maybe you able to share how to guide parents listening. Your child is showing, signals of wanting to do acting. Should we say no, you must be a doctor, or we say no, you join the EPS? What do we say? You want to be the EPS is there? I don't know. How do we even navigate this?
I think, and it's so funny you say that, because I actually just had this conversation with a parent, because in their mind, exactly that. Well, I want my daughter to be like a doctor or a lawyer, and it's great if that's what they truly want to do and want to pursue, then that's great. But I also think we really have to look at what's going to fulfill you. And if they are, like, some kids are naturally very creative, right from when they're little, right? They're like performers. They love doing that. They love being on stage. They love singing. And I really feel that taking that dream away, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, because I think that's our dream as a parent. That's not their dream. And I think you just want your child to be happy, is what I think. And I've met some really great, very, very talented child actors. I do think it's a hard world to prepare them for, because again, we go back to that rejection, right? So how do you prepare like a 7-year-old who goes in thinking, oh, I'm going to get this part, and not realizing that, there's 30 other kids auditioning and they can only pick one. So, I think my friend has a daughter, and she's in, musical theater and performing and learning how to audition, and everyone is guaranteed a part in that performance. And I think that's a very positive way to start off. And that if that's something she chooses to pursue later, she's been in the process a little bit of she was just telling me, and she's 9 years old, she's a little sweetheart, and she said, I auditioned for this one part and I didn't get it, but I got this other part. And so she's still having that opportunity to sing and perform and be an actress on stage. And of course we all go and support her, and me and my kids, and we cheer her on. And I think, it's okay. You're not always going to get that top part. And I think kids these days, not just in acting, I think kids have to learn success and failure as a balance, because I think always pushing for success without the reality that you're not always going to be successful in everything, or that some things you're going to, fail. I had an acting teacher say, I hope not me particular, but all of you, I hope you all have a really horrible audition that you walk out and go, oh gosh, that was so bad, I'm so embarrassed. Because then it's going to make you better. If you are always thinking you're great, you're never going to push yourself to be better, right? I always think like I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly, even as a writer, I would say I'm an emerging writer. I'm learning. I'm still learning how to write. And I just want those opportunities to grow, to still be able to grow and find, you know, the opportunities to produce these things and create them.
I like your mindset. I think, I like that word emerging. I'm an emerging writer as well. I'm an emerging media person. I like that. It's also humble because it shows you don't know everything for starters. And there's still a lot out there for you to learn. Are there any schools, would you know, Anna, within this city, that are acting schools for children? Do they exist? I've not Googled it. I'm just wondering, are there?
I don't know. I know, like, I don't recall which one my friends' kids go to. But I know there are some performing arts schools. I also know, like, for children, like the Victoria Composite High School. So for a little bit older kids, like I know some kids that have gone there for art and drama. And I think that's a great place for them to go because they can, you know, pursue various arts. Because I think art is, you know, you're an artist. If you're a painter, you're an artist. If you're an actor, you're an artist. If you're a director or writer, like it's all part of art and creating and telling a visual story, right? At the end of the day. So I know there are, I'm sorry, I don't know offhand.
Okay, no, that's fine.
But I know there's some.
I'm just curious. Now, behind you, after this, I've got just one more question and then we'll let you go. Behind you is a world of paparazzi, red carpets going on really behind you.
Yes, this was I was very, very lucky. I did this phenomenal independent film that was filmed in Florida based on a true story. It's called She Could Be You, based on a true story of a missing girl named Jennifer Martellus, and who is still missing, unfortunately, and with no answers. But her family came together to want to create a movie to tell their story of a missing child, which was very, very heartbreaking. I think I spent half of my day shooting in tears for the role and behind the scenes too. But we had the opportunity to go to Cannes. So this was me on the red carpet in Cannes, which was a very, very cool experience. We got to be part of the producer's circle and meet, Quentin Tarantino and Brad Pitt, who were there promoting their movie, which I love Brad Pitt. I've always admired his work. He shot a few films actually here in Alberta as well. But so this was my experience on the red carpet. And people, and you're so, it was very nervous. I was very, there I am.
Yeah, really, this is the dream, red carpets, paparazzi, cameras, the limelight, this is it.
And what was so great was, even though like I'm not like a huge celebrity or anything, but it was, you have this film and stopping to ask you questions and, and you're so nervous, like, please don't trip and fall and smile and try and like,
Anna, what is your next project? What are you working on now? And I wanted you to leave more than a soundbite, please, on the difficulties or the miracles of finding the dollars you need to carry on your work, because my understanding is you want to do more short films.
Yeah.
You want to produce more short films. So what sort of miracles you need the universe to bring your way to make that happen? And I know we've not discussed this. I'm sorry.
No, and it's a great question. No, it's a fantastic question.
I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. Mm-hmm.
Not at all. No, not at all. Well, so Wait, as I mentioned, the short film I wrote, Wait, which I was, I wrote this. It was kind of, it's about a woman whose father passes away, and she has to return home and deal with some unresolved issues with her family, and it was it's kind of a metaphor for weight, a metaphor being the weight we carry upon our shoulders and how much weight we choose to carry and how that affects our lives and our choices. So again, I felt like it's such a relevant conversation within this family dynamic, but that I mean, the weight the heaviness of things lately, especially coming out of the pandemic or during the pandemic, was a very reoccurring theme that I, talking with friends or strangers, that it's like, oh, everything is so heavy, and that kind of brought that story to life. So I am looking at having some sponsorships, putting a cast together and having sponsorships for short film. It's very hard to do short films because I always joke, you're asking people to give you money so you can, live your dream. Because they don't generate income, right? Which is most investors, that's what they would like, right? Is a return on their investment. And that's what, for a feature, that'll be more of that. It will be more, you can sell it and you can have opportunities to make your money back if Netflix picked it up, or some sort of streaming service, or theater if you're lucky. I know some producers here that have done some independent feature films that have been picked up and are on TV or on Netflix or on Amazon or wherever. One of them that I was in, I know, has been picked up in the United States, called Abducted. And I got to play a police officer. That was really fun. And that one is streaming in the US. I don't believe it's streaming in Canada yet. But so yeah, you hope for a miracle. You can also look for grants, and you can apply for grants, because there are different foundations that are supportive of artists. So that's my next endeavor. Finding the money. T, it's always hard. It's always the money comes down to the money. Yeah. And you want to create a good, you could do, I've been in films that have had, very, very low budget. And the product is really great. My short film last year, I was a, co-producer, writer, and star. The Choice was not shot on a big budget, but really had amazing people. That was the one with Barb. Amazing people that came together to want to tell the story. And that's the biggest thing, is aligning yourself with people that believe in your story, believe in your vision, believe in you, and want to help you bring that to life. And that's what I'm finding too, is finding those people I want to work with and finding those connections to make that are going to help you to find the success in the story. So that's where I'm going.
Anna Primieri, thank you so very much for sharing the miracle you need. We've reached out to the universe. We don't know, but we know when we are positive, when we are optimistic, the universe comes through for us.
Yes, that's true.
That's what we generally believe. Now, I want to say a big thank you for your time. This has been eye-opening for me individually, and I'm sure our listeners too. The world of acting is so Hollywoodish, but you brought it right to my doorstep. You brought it right to where I live in South Edmonton, to my world. So I'm grateful for your friendship and for your time tonight. So we're gonna let you go now, and we'll speak soon. And to our audience, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we have Giselle, General, doing Edmonton, an update with Edmonton City Council. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Anna, before you go?
I want to leave everyone with, like we were talking about, T, and I think you're such a great inspiration too, because it's something you love doing, and having a magazine that celebrates women and celebrates. What I love about you too is you really bring different voices to the table, which is so great, and I really hope that people just follow that passion, follow that, your dream, and know that it's, this is great, this was fun, and it's great, but if you get to create something and just do it, like write that book or audition or go paint or whatever your passion is, creatively, I mean, and anything else. But for me personally, as a creative artist, I really hope that people just continue to express themselves and tell their stories. And, you never know which, always be welcome and let people in. And for me, I'm always like, I'm happy to meet people, to network, to talk to people. And you never know, like you said, you never know where that collaboration might come and that inspiration to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna, thank you
And thank
so
you.
very much for your time.
Thank you, T. Have a great night.
And
Thank
you
you.
too. Okay, bye bye now.
Bye.
Hey, hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to your magazine show. Just trying to turn down the audio there. Yeah, welcome to Big Conversations with T. This is the November edition, and we'll announce shortly when the December edition will be. My name is Tia DM. I'm the publisher of Ladies Corner magazine. Please, the job tonight is to ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ladies Corner Canada, and at least check out what we do at ladiescorner.ca. She is our Edmonton City Council insider, and she brings us news about your council. She is Giselle General. Before I bring her in, just don't go away because we have Calgarian poet laureate Brewster Campbell right after Giselle. But for now, we got everything you need to know about Edmonton City Council. Giselle, thank you for your graciousness and your patience tonight. Good evening.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I hope that you're all doing well. And just want to do a quick tech check in. I hope everything is okay with our audio and video. T?
Yes, perfect. Thumbs up all the way. Double thumbs. Thank you.
All right. Fantastic. In that case, I'll just jump right in. Welcome back again to all our amazing Edmontonians and supporters of the Ladies Corner magazine. My name is Giselle General, your host for the Edmonton City Council segment, and I'm here again. I'm back to share some insights and information so that you can actively contribute and be engaged in the municipal government issues and you can make the impact that you want to see. First off is our rapid fire segment. And here's a short summary of all the different updates that you need to know about that I highly recommend that you keep an eye on. City Council made a decision recently that children under the age of 12 can now take Edmonton Transit free of charge even if they are not accompanied by a fare paying adult. This is one of the many ongoing updates that the city has been doing to make sure public transit is accessible for all. In the past, children need to pay a cheaper fare. Then, not too long ago, can ride transit for free but need to be accompanied by an adult who is paying transit fare. Administration is expected to present a revised transit fare policy during the November budget discussions. Since winter is here and snow has stuck on the ground, the city announced improvements to their snow and ice control processes, where the goals are better consistency, more equipment, frequent maintenance in residential areas, additional sandboxes, and changes with cutting back on windrows after getting complaints from many people last year. The parking ban notification also has been improved. I highly encourage everyone to sign up for an automated email reminder process. The city will also have reminders on their website, and public transit buses will continue to have it on their digital signs. Also, due to the weather, the city usually stops construction once the snow stays on the ground. The city wrapped up its 2022 capital construction season with with the milestone of 302 projects, 70 of which are on schedule and 92% on budget. The city also expects to complete three neighborhood renewal projects by the end of the year. Regarding the delayed
Hello and
Valley,
welcome to another edition of Conversations
oops,
with.
just with a, I think something happened with our recording there. I just want to check it. Is everything still going okay? Hello? Okay. I think we are back up and running, so I'll just repeat the most recent update that I was trying to share. As I was mentioning, because winter has come, the city has stopped the construction season. The city wrapped up the construction season, calling it one of the most ambitious capital seasons in history. They worked on 302 projects, 70 of which are on schedule and 92% on budget. The city also expects to complete three neighborhood renewal projects by the end of the year. And regarding the delayed Valley Line Southeast LRT, TransEd is fully responsible for all repairs, including all costs. It has been 5 years since the downtown arena opened and that the Northlands Coliseum was officially closed, but there's still no confirmed date or details on when the Coliseum will be demolished. Demolishing the building is estimated to cost $35 million. Maintaining the Coliseum in its current form will cost the city about 1.25 million this year. Development of the surrounding area, however, the exhibition lands is already ongoing. Next up, I want to talk about how you can share your insight. If you are an engaged Edmontonian that wanted to make sure policymakers, which is City Council, consider your perspectives in making decisions, there are several ways you can share your insight and make your voice heard. And tonight, I wanted to talk about a very timely and important topic, and that is the upcoming 4 year budget for the city. So, 1 year after the municipal election, it is a 4 year cycle. The budget is discussed by the recently elected representatives. And this budget this year has three categories. First is the capital budget, which is about things that is being built, infrastructure such as roads, sidewalks, and buildings. The second document is the operating budget, which is about city department and programs such as libraries, garbage, snow clearing, police, and many more. And finally, the first of its kind is the carbon budget, which analyzes the different actions the city needs to do so climate change can be addressed. The draft copies are already available online to read. It's on the City of Edmonton website, City Governance, and in the Budget and Finances section. One important thing to note is that in the documents, there's already the list of items already budgeted in, and also different items that are important. There is an estimate on how much they cost, but are not yet integrated in the budget. And these are called unfunded service packages. So if you see something under the list of unfunded services packages that you think is important, you can contact City Council to consider a trade off. They can fund that one in exchange of removing another. How can you speak up about this? You have a few options. You can contact the mayor or your councillor anytime now on this topic. Second, if you're part of a group like a nonprofit organization or an advisory committee, there might be options for you to represent your group and get your voice heard. For myself, as a member of the Transit Advisory Board, we are finishing up a letter to share our thoughts on the operating budget. Finally, there is this special event called public hearing. And it's not what you think it is. It's not happening at the courthouse and no one's getting punished publicly. A public hearing is simply a opportunity for members of the public, like you and me, to speak in front of City Council and be heard. There's 2 days that City Council has allocated so that members of the public can talk about the upcoming budget, and that is on November 28th and 29th. You can register ahead of time, and on public hearing day, you can wait your turn, do your speech, and answer questions from council. Final decisions on the budget will be debated and confirmed for the first 2 weeks of December until they have made their final decisions. So here's your chance to get your voice heard on this very important topic. Next up, as always, I want to talk about the Edmonton, City of Edmonton ABCs, which is the agencies, boards, and commissions. As I mentioned before, these are organizations or boards that consist of groups of people, usually volunteers, that are appointed to either make decisions or give advice to the city about different issues. I'm a member of one, which is the Edmonton Transit Advisory Board. For today, I want to share about the next ABC on the list, which is the Edmonton Youth Council. And for this committee, the age range of eligible Edmontonians are between 13 and 23 years old. They're structured a bit differently to give as many youth and young adults the opportunity to get involved. They have 24 board members and they have youth at large positions where more people can get involved. Last year, they actually have 85 members. And what tends to happen is that some people who first sign up as a youth at large volunteer might continue to become one of the board members. They also have their dedicated webpage and active social media content for people who want to learn more and connect with them. If you want to understand what they do, on top of the official reports they give to City Council. A short list of the many topics they touch on are collaborating with existing agencies to tackle climate change, mobility, and transportation, explaining long term impact of policies on youth and young adults, and an initiative they tackled a few years ago called Tackling COVID 19. Recruitment period is a bit different as it aligns more with the typical school year for post secondary students. The application is in May. So that I think it's a good idea actually because winter semester ends in April. So students can decide for their spring and summer if this is what they want to do. Aside from that, application process is still the same. People should apply online just like the other boards and job applications. And finally, the end of our segment, we'll talk about 311 at your fingertips. As a refresher, as Edmontonians, we have many three-digit services that we can use to help with our needs, like 911 and 811 and 211. And 311 is specifically for the city government, so you can file issues and complaints that the city government needs to look after and fix. It's a phone number, it's an email address, an online form, and the app as well. And last month, I talked about how on the app, you can track whether your request has been approved and you can track other complaints that people have filed. But on the app, you can only look at the other complaints filed through the app. Did you know that there is a web page online called Citizen Connect where you can track different things that are happening or are filed around you? This interactive web-based map can show you different facilities, development permits or demolition notices, and 311 requests. So if we can take a look at this sample screen that I have that shows how the Citizens Connect webpage works. Let's see if we're able to show that.
I'm getting it up. You'll see it in a minute.
Sounds good.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. So if you take a look at this sample screen over here, it's a screenshot of the Citizen Connect webpage. Once you pick a criteria, let's say you want to see 311 complaints on litter, garbage strewn around in public spaces that people have reported and that the complaint status is still open. Once you check off those options, they will appear on the map. And for each of those data points, you can click it and see the date and time of the report, exact location, and reference number. You can also load multiple data categories. Let's say, for example, you want to let the map display all the city attractions nearby, different city amenities, child friendly businesses and parks, and also show the 311 complaints on vandalism, potholes, and litter. You can do that with this web page and visualize them all at the same time. The great thing about this is that it's available for everyone. You don't need a special login or special software. Whether you're someone interested in data analysis, governance, or an everyday person who wants to know how these pieces of information are tracked or analyze them, it's a user-friendly way to see 311 data combined with other useful information. The web link is connect.edmonton.ca. And that wraps up our segment on Edmonton City Council. Again, this is Giselle General, your everyday engaged Edmontonian, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Giselle, for that. For those who are wondering what they should just talk about, please have a look on our website. She kindly sent us everything. All the updates that you need to know about Edmonton City Council. It's on ladiescorner.ca. Giselle, we're going to let you go now. Thank you so very much for your time. Thank you.
Happy to help, and all the best. Have a good rest of the evening.
You too, Giselle. Thank you. Now, when we come back, we have Calgary poet laureate Brewster Campbell, who talks about the power of poetry, the power of language. Yeah, don't go away. It'll be well worth your while. Hello, and welcome back to the November edition of Big Conversations with Team. We started at 6:30. We've been going on now. This is our very last interview. We've kept the best for the last. I want to say a big thank you to all our guests tonight, Mrs Moji Taiwo. I want to say a big thank you to Tayo and Dotun, our experts on accounting, finance, your finances, taxes, and things like that. I want to say a big thank you also to Anna Primieri, who came and shared that Hollywood life with our very humble selves here at Ladies Corner. And then to Giselle, thank you so very much for the hard work you put in month by month. You know that Giselle is volunteering. We are, she volunteers with us, and we're really grateful for the effort she puts in, for showing up on time. And so without much ado, here's my conversation with a very powerful Calgary poet laureate. He's been featured. He's a star of our Christmas. One of the stars actually of our Christmas edition. His words are powerful, and I've not played it anywhere else. I've saved it to play tonight for you. I hope you enjoy listening. Adeyemo. To some of you, he needs no introduction, but to our world, is Wakefield Brewster. He's a Calgary poet laureate. Here's a little bit about him. He's a professional poet and spoken word artist who was raised in Toronto by parents from Barbados, and he has been based in Calgary since 2026. Today, he's known as one of Canada's most powerful professional performance poets throughout his career. Brewster has been published has been published in several anthologies, including T. Quilts and the Great Black North, the Calgary Project, and the Black Prairie Archives, and an anthology. Since moving to Calgary, he has produced 2 professional recordings to his credit: the Wakefield Brewster and the Lyrical People, and there's also one more, and East to West. In addition to being a professional poet and spoken word artist, Brewster is also a professional poetic interpreter and has been a 3-time Calgary Poetry Slam champion and team captain. Is the inaugural Poet of Honor, the People's Poetry Festival, the Calgary Poet Laureate shortlist and finalist in 2012 and 2020, where it goes on and on and on. We're just very excited to welcome Wakefield Brewster. You're welcome, my brother. You're welcome. You're a powerful guest, and thank you so much.
Thank you,
Um,
sister.
I'm sorry I didn't do all the justice. You're a community
Don't.
builder, a volunteer leadership mentor through the arts, an advocate for literacy. You're just a god. That's what you are. Let's just be real. You're a god.
I just love to help. I just love to help.
Mhm.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. That really broke ice. That really felt good. That was
Yeah, we
fun.
gotta break bread together. We
Thank
gotta,
you.
get to the nitty gritty of this. Now, what didn't I say? What part of you would like? No one knows that you like to share with Ladies Corner tonight.
What would I like to share with you all?
Yeah.
I think I would like to share my love of putting poetry in places people don't even believe it exists or belongs. I believe that, especially with my literary leverage, we'll call it, as poet laureate, I do have that ability to further push poetry into the further reaches of our outer society, if you will. We believe it belongs here, there, in specific places, but I would love to help tear down those silos of misconceptions. Poetry is for the people. Poetry is for everyone, and I want to put it everywhere it can possibly be.
Okay, so when I hear talk like that, what you're saying indirectly is I'm gonna push poetry to Black people, because I know when there's a festival, the first people who buy the ticket, white people, and our ticket's gone, and the Black brother says, "I don't have money. It's for rich people," you know.
I can tell you that poetry has its way of reaching every people from the right poets. If you want to get it out there to the world, if you want to blanket this earth with words, then really it comes, then it really comes down to what can you do as a single entity to the utmost of your own capacity to promote this very important method of literacy.
So since you become poet laureate, would you say this is a recognition of decades, 21 years of poetry work? Would you see this as a reward? This is, let words lead. You believe in the power of words.
A thunderous and resounding yes. This is the greatest public achievement that I have poetically ever made. When you become a laureate, it does put you in a place where people can really see what it is you bring to the land of literacy. And I've been at it. This is actually my 23rd year.
Oh, wow.
I've never given up on the love of this.
What made you believe so much in poetry? Why poetry?
I don't know, to be perfectly honest. I started out my career as a classical pianist and a percussionist. So I have always been in the realm of the arts and performance, but it wasn't poetry I picked. Through a series of events, poetry picked me.
But when I read your biography, I noticed that you had links to Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and so on and so forth. You got Black African blood running through your veins. Would you say your ancestors are calling you or giving you some sort of message for today's world?
Let me tell you a thing. If this is about connection to the ancestors, I didn't get my first tattoo work until I was 26, and that's usually a little later for people who are into tattoo culture. A lot of people quick bang, as soon as they can get them, legally or not, they get tattooed. I knew I didn't want to get anything I'd regret or want to change. I wanted to. The rules of tattoo are there's three. They're expensive, they're painful, they're forever. And even if you are going to get lasered off, that's not what I want to go through. I want to make a commitment to this changing of the body. I didn't want to write a bunch of English words on me, sister. There was a time where people were just writing stuff on them, peace and love. And then people were going ahead and getting characters of other people's language and not even actually knowing if that was the true character or not. There were some mishaps out there. You thought it said mountain, but it said something completely different.
Dragonfly.
Right.
It says the lion.
Or horse poop. Who knows what it said? So I
Mm.
didn't want to fall in that trap of having tattoo regret. I waited until I was 26, and then I discovered Adinkra. I discovered Adinkra symbolism in the country of Ghana. When I started to look at the symbols, the meanings, the philosophies, the convictions, the sayings, the euphemisms behind each symbol, I resonated with every time my life achieves this experience, I'm going to tattoo it on me.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, if I'm going to do anything, and since we do not have a lot outside of hieroglyphics, how many other Black African languages do we see scripted? Not many, if any, but Adinkra exists, and quite prominently, as far as I knew at the time anyway. I started to get these tattoos, which are all Adinkra. I felt a connection to, at the very least, writing my people's language on me. Now you cast time 2 decades forward. That was when I was 26. Let's say 46, because I just turned 50. Let's say around 46. Ancestry.ca, DNA, where you from? Where do you think most of my people come from? Of all places, Ghana.
Ghana. Oh, wow.
I have been writing out my life, and I have gotten my instructions from our ancestors.
That's very powerful, Wakefield. You stumbled on something there when you were 26. At 26, people are getting married and, I don't know, doing other stuff. But you were just discovering. That's powerful. Usually when people say they're a part of the people that I know you're from Barbados and your parents are from, is that the Dominican Republic? Is that right?
No, that is nearby. It is in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Island in the Caribbean.
Okay, so what I think, about your poetry is it's not alienating. You are bringing together Black people. I've spoken to several poets, and when they say they are from the Caribbean, they focus their poetry only around that. And, so in a sense, they don't represent Black people. So my guess with your work, your life's work is you are a poet for Black people from Africa inclusive. Am I correct?
I would love to believe that is a truth. Yes, I would love to believe that is a truth. I would like to believe that I am trying to do as our ancestors wanted me to do, as I've been faithfully instructed to do, as I've been born to do. And this art of spoken word and storytelling, how can it can't get more African than that?
Oh, yeah.
It can't get more binding than that. That is our people's legacy. It's what we do. I feel honored and privileged to be a speaker of our people.
How much has Adinkra shaped your poetry?
I think it has shaped my personal life, which then is reflected in the poetry. Because there's about 60 different symbols I'm looking at. I have about 27, 30 of them, because I won't just put them on. I will put it on if I believe something in my life has reflected what it says. So this one, that looks like a ladder here. My father, it is the ladder of mortality, life and death. My father went through a very big scare. We thought he may leave. I flew back to Toronto to see the family and everything. And now, of course, he's fine. But that brought perspective. My father is giving us a warning, letting us know it's coming. It made me recognize my mortality, and I got that in honor of my father.
All right.
This one here means encouragement.
I can see it.
And there are people out there who believe they're very hard-hearted, hard-minded. They have a thin coldness about them, where they don't believe that spreading positive words and encouragement is important, that it is for the weak. And no, I have always found, and being a teacher, that when you encourage, people usually just do even better, because that's what happens with me. When people recognize or see me, and I don't need it, but boy, I do invite it, and I do like it. Thanks for recognizing me. The pat on the back, the you can keep going, you can do better. Believe it or not, that helps drive me to do better. So whatever it is I've realized is in my life and is strong and has now presented itself, whatever life experience that I've gone through and it has changed me. If that adinkra symbol exists, it goes on me. And when you go through it, it's a rite, it's a passage, it's a couple of hours in some very acute pain. You have time to think about what words are going to come from this. You have time to meditate through this painful rite of passage on power comes at a cost. And this feels like a powerful rite. This feels like a powerful transition. What are we going to do to honor it?
How do people receive your poetry, receive your message? Because there's a lot more to you than Adinkra as well. You have different, you're also a teacher.
I believe that I, of course, cannot speak to everyone. In a room full of folks from 10 to 1,000, sister, there's no way I'm going to be able to say things that resonate often with everyone the whole time. That is absolutely unreasonable. For me, I have learned to embrace this. If I am able to significantly reach someone at least once in this time, my job is done. If I am able at all, and no matter how long I have to speak, to reach at least one person with one element, not the whole poem, did I reach Sister T in a unique way that no one noticed or knows, where she feels that least bit changed? Is she the only one in 1,000 people? Did my job, going to bed, sleeping tight.
All right. Okay, fair enough. So as being poet laureate, it sounds really exotic, romantic, expensive, right up there, Has it opened doors, what sort of doors has it? Do you dine with rich people now?
Absolutely not. I still love to hang with a friend and go eat at Fat Burger. Let me tell you, I will say this, and this is the truth. It is literary leverage.
Right.
It is not as if Calgary did not know how hard I've been driving for 16 years, and the Canadian landscape of literacy knows me. They know that I've been grinding. My name is not unknown, especially where it's home. What it comes down to is I truly believe that in the years of lockdown, 20 to 2022, where I was nominated again, while we were all virtual more than out in the world, there wasn't anywhere I wasn't. I was online everywhere. So I truly believe that in a time where people were feeling disempowered and unmotivated and lost, I turned my effort 1,000% up and showed the world, at least online, locally and literary wise abroad, that poetry can be a driving force during a pandemic. Now, if you've got someone who is literally everywhere online during a pandemic, don't you believe you want that person to be your champion in public?
I hear you.
I believe that I'm poet laureate not because it's time to die, but they saw the efforts I made online for 2 years of kind of darkness. I was shining my poetic flashlights out into the internet at all times. When could you teach 5 classes in Edmonton then go and speak to the Faculty of Education in Carleton, in Ottawa, and then be back in Calgary to speak to the City of Calgary for Black History Month in the same day with all the money you need and a private jet. We couldn't do that before COVID.
No.
Now I'm in 8 places in a day doing readings online. That's the kind of effort you must believe someone will put out there in the street.
Yeah. Okay, so February and October, can it become a thing? February or Christmas, can it become a thing?
Oh, you mean the show I did August and
February and
August?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
think it's a great idea.
It's a brilliant one.
Thank you.
February every month.
Thank you. Because the truth of the matter is, I have noticed, I have benefited, and I see the benefits, and I see the lacking. When it is only during February, our month, that you will see an all-black cast in any kind of live performance or production or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Black History Month. You're going to have an all-black tap show, an all-black poetry show. Yeah, that's easy because it's February. When else does it happen?
That's true.
So I said, all right, you know what? Let's flip it 6 months away. Let's make this day as far away from February as possible and stake another claim of Black artistic excellence right in the middle of the calendar, right in the middle of your summer. It got dark in the summer. That's what I wanted to do.
By the way, I love what you do with your hands. It's very, I'm not going to forget this portion of the conversation. It's so artistic.
I speak with my hands. I poeticize with my hands. They're part of my presentation. They're part of my persona. And I'm really happy that at times they truly help to convey the message. People have said, I can see it in your hands. Whatever they must be doing, I'm coming by it naturally. I'm coming by it honestly. And I think that's why people feel the connection to my movement.
That's right. You are also somewhat of a healer, poetic interpreter. How can we find healing daily through poetry?
I don't believe the whole world can love poetry. It's like cilantro. You love it or you hate it, and it may never change. There are also everyone else who's not cilantro with poetry. Everyone else who's not cilantro has a chance to embrace it. And what I find is that poetry is a short story. What's inside of a story? The feeling of a beginning, a middle, and end, and usually a message or some messages to connect and engage. We are living in the age of information technology and storytelling. We are the great storytellers, and you can't get any more African in this part of the world than Indigenous, and they are known as great storytellers. And we are going through truth and reconciliation right now, very actively right now. It has been and will continue to grow. Well, what I am saying and making connection to is I am on Blackfoot land, and my Indigenous brothers and sisters, young elders, instructors, artists, and some elders bona fide have said to me, your words are medicine. That's a big, big deal. I am a Black man on Blackfoot land, and the people of this land have told me it's not just poetry, it's medicine, and it's helping us heal.
Amen.
You hear those words from the right people, especially the original people who are so much like our people, same coin, different side. You've got to know it's a message that both ancestors sat at the table and said, let's throw this cat a message here. Let's let them know. I feel I've landed in the right place.
That's right.
After being displaced, I have landed in the right place. And of all places, Blackfoot land. Like, come on.
Absolutely. So how do we not let this gift of storytelling die with us? How do we pass the gift to the next generation?
Get us in schools. get us into education, get us in front of younger generations. That's all you need to do. When we lived in families and clans and larger family units and groups thousands of years ago, the master storytellers told the same stories every night, and everyone heard them. And if it was a bedtime story, everyone heard them, and generation after generation. Then we have a thing called education in schools, and well, the great storytelling is gone. It's been replaced by things like this, and it's been replaced by things you look at. You need to get us in the schools, and you need to get us in the schools sooner than later to help interrupt the literary evolution of younger grades. We need to help teach them there is more to speaking than like, right, you know? They need to know how to form complete sentences. They need to know how to speak, so that their actions will either be very well accepted and reflected by the words that precede them.
Okay, that's sweet. So the magazine we're preparing this will be out. My penultimate question is one. The magazine will be out December 15, and it'll be dark, middle of winter. I want you to wrap us with some words, not necessarily nice words, but some comfortable words that we can chew upon as the holiday season draws near.
Well, what I can say is we tend to slow down, get depressed, get slow, get heavy. We tend to recede from joy and life and living. When it is cold, when it is looking like it's dead out there, when it is mundane, I have actually come to a point in my life where I love winter because I know I have flipped my psychology to embrace germination rather than hibernation. I am attempting to allow or trick myself into allowing this dismal environment to push me rather than stop me.
All right. Okay.
And we can't ever see light without it getting dark. So let's embrace what we can come out into the light with.
Good.
That we germinated during this time that we call winter.
All right, we didn't plan this. You're a poet, and you do not know what I'm going to ask as my final question. I want us to blanket our world with your words, and I want you to send us off a merry way with a beautiful poem, if I may ask, please.
Sure, I am going to recite a poem. It is titled Lunar Herstory. It is a poem dedicated to the feminine, dedicated to astrophysics, Black culture, and lyricism. And I love to preface it and have people hear, you're going to put these four very seemingly separate individual things together. And I say, yes, I work with the patchwork quilt theory of poetry. Many different things, all in one piece, sewn together by the thread of language. This is Lunar Herstory. It is time for the next. Pages must be turned, books must be burned. We shall erase the past and make time start now. For his story, glory caused a frown upon my brow. It was all too much for me. It was all like real TV. I was overwhelmed and swamped like an inbox, an innocent woman stoned by rocks, tumbling breadfruit dropping out of trees unseen with ease and green gleam. Lower spectrums introduce purples, blues, and greens again. Don't you really remember when Mama said, eat your greens, eat your greens? Reflect on those words and tell me how it seems. She knew more than she spoke. She birthed some matters, then the illogic broke. It broke and broke the back out. It stoked and smoke the blackout, and no one was prepared for what beast was unleashed upon the land. Stipulation and manipulation walking hand in hand. The illogic of language then became grand, convoluted and compromised through bloody blue and blackened eyes. The black looked into the night like its namesake, made the spacescape of words come awake, lifted the level like a lyrical Lazarus, deny the slick grit we know that time has on us, spilling through space like sugar. We are the sweetest of stars. We stay redder than Mars. Giants like Jupiter, dust and lunar winds blowing throughout all of our travels, bringing fear to the atmosphere. Subway to Venus, y'all move it to the rear. And still, I couldn't get excited, landing on different planetary spots, the ones yet undiscovered. But you gonna tell me you uncovered it first. Prepare for the worst. For I am like the enemy in the lyrical arms race. Call me the Black Russian, cause I made it first to space. And then got celestial. Frightened for the style is quick, fast. See, dark speech move like that so you don't know what happened. Traveling at the speed of light. That's why we call it rapping. Her story is the one to listen to. She brought all of us here to do what we do. And I have always loved her. Call her the moon. But really she's the sun. So I call my brother son because he shine like one, as we all should be, inside the Milky Way womb that we all call she. Did it for us all. Her stories were pure light. Her tales weren't tall, but we let her take the fall. It's time to bring her back and put her high beyond sight, and let her know that she's the comfort in the blackness of the night. And let his story cascade like Lucifer, for he just ain't right.
Oh, Wakefield Brewster, you're Calgary's partner. Thank you so very much for your time here with us. I'm going to end the recording. That was just beyond beautiful. Thank you so very much. That was my beautiful conversation with Calgary Port Laureate Wakefield Brewster much earlier this month. I want to say a big thank you to Giselle, Tayo, and Dotun, and Mrs Moji Taiwo once again, to Calgary Port Laureate Wakefield Brewster for creating wonderful content with us, for making what a show, for helping us, for their time. Most importantly, want to say thank you to you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Want to say thank you for your support. We'll be back December 16 for our final edition of 2022. So we hope to see you then. Make it a date with us, 2022. Thank you once again. May God be with you. May He blanket you with words. Have a good night.